Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my shop once again. It is a glorious Sunday morning here in Wisconsin. Almost 12 o'clock and it is 50 degrees. Let me see, probably warmer than that now. 52 degrees before noon on February the 2nd, 2020. In Wisconsin. That is so unusual. Usually this time of year it's 30 below zero and you're freezing your you-know-what off. Okay, today I want to approach this from a different angle, and the reason being, a good friend of mine, he watches my videos not because he has any interest in wood turning, but he has an interest in me. He does it just because he cares. He's been a friend of mine for a very long time, and he pointed out something to me last week that I was really truly unaware of. When I do a video, thank you heater for turning off. When I do a video, I approach it for the value to people that know how to turn. I forget that there are a lot of people that are just now buying lathes and learning how to turn. The same place I was at 15 years ago, or whatever it was. It's been a while. I'm going to start from a different perspective, I hope, today, and explain to you how I got to where I am, and if I would have known somebody in wood turning a lot sooner, I may have started at a different place. First off is, what lathe do I buy? I hear that a lot of people, or I hear a lot of people ask that question. Hey Kevin, what lathe should I buy? And I'm like, I don't know what your finances are, but that doesn't matter. If you're looking to buy a lathe, there are a lot of cheap lathes on the internet. Craigslist, eBay, local papers, local markets, flea markets, etc. But I'm the kind of person, I don't want something that somebody else owned. I wouldn't buy something that I've owned because I try to take care of my stuff. It looks kind of ratty because I've turned a lot of bowls and a lot of pins on it. I've never been quite that anal about appearances of equipment. As long as they work, I keep using them. So, hey Kevin, what lathe would you buy if you were going to buy a lathe today? First off, for me, I would save up the money, and then I would recommend to you out there starting out turning, buy a mini lathe, or as the case is with my jet, it's a 1221, 12 meaning the amount of swing, and that's measuring from the bed up to the point of the headstock is 6 inches. So it can do approximately a 12-inch bowl. I don't recommend this lathe for doing anything over an 8-inch bowl. It's only 1.5 horse, and it struggles a little bit in the area of turning a bigger bowl. Turning a big bowl is not easy on this lathe. This lathe is really good for turning ornaments and small spindle work, especially turning a pen. And that's what I would recommend to anybody that's thinking about getting into lathe work. Start out turn a pen. My first lathe was a Delta 1440, 14 for swing, 40-inch bed length, but for a new person turning, it was difficult. So, starting out, buy a mini or mid lathe. Penn State Industry has some nice smaller lathes. The Jet 1221, there's been some rumor that Delta's coming back out with a mini lathe. Those are a good place to start. Laguna has some smaller lathes. Steel City has smaller lathes. All good quality products. For me, being a mostly pin turner, I would recommend the Jet 1221. On this end, this is what we call the headstock. The motor is mounted between the bedways underneath this lathe, and it drives a belt, and the belt drives the pulley. We have a lower drive, a medium drive, and a high. And I said that backwards. This is low, medium, and high. High being high speed, and it turns approximately 3,600 RPMs. The medium speed is 1,800, and low. If you're going to turn bowls or bigger pieces on the lathe that are bigger in the swing department like this, then you want to bring your belt down into the low. That way you have the torque ability for turning. I've personally never used the medium. I either use low or high, and 99% of the time my lathe is on the high pulley because I'm doing spindle work, turning pins, and I want it to turn as fast as possible so I get a clearer and cleaner cut from my tool. This is what the tool rest slides back and forth on. This is the tool rest. This is what we call a banjo underneath, and the banjo slides back and forth on the bed ways. This is the tailstock. Let's see here. Light that up a little bit for you guys. And the tailstock moves forwards and back on the bedways, just like the banjo for the tool rest does. On the tailstock, you have the ability to turn the center on the tailstock in and out, and that is to adjust the revolving center in and out to the workpiece. Say, just, for demonstration purposes, if I want to put the piece up here like this, then I can bring in the tailstock, lock the tailstock down, and then tighten the thumb screw, and then I can hold the piece in place right here, and then it's able to be turned on the lathe. And then again, you back it off, and it gives you the ability to take the piece out from between centers. For turning pins, when you first start off, you need to drill pieces of wood, put a tube in the piece of wood, then you bring the piece of wood on the tube to the lathe, and oh, let me also show you guys. If you buy a lathe, you can get a lathe a little bit cheaper by getting it without a stand. Personally, I would never do that again. I had a 12-inch, or yeah, a 12-inch Delta lathe before I had this one. And I bought it without the stand, and I made a stand for it, and it worked. I did it heavy duty with 2x2s that were glued together to make 4x4s from the ground up with cross members like the feet on this one, and it worked. It did the job. But having this lathe with the stand, it is better. I enjoy it a lot more, and I am easier and quicker to use it because it is on a stand. The other item that I would say that is, if you can afford it, or if it was me, I would save up till I could afford it, is I would like to have, and I like having, a lathe with variable speed. This lathe, when the variable speed knob is turned all the way down, it turns at approximately 220 RPM. And let's see here. It would help if you guys could see what I'm talking about. All right. And then if you turn it up when it's on the high setting in the headstock, it goes up to around 3,600 RPM. Mine is at, it says 3,640. I've never checked it to see if that is accurate, but for me, what I do, it's close enough. And it also has the ability to reverse. You click the switch, and now it's turning reverse the opposite direction. That comes in really handy when you're sanding. Overall, I have to say that I really truly enjoy using the Jet 1221 for doing pens. It does an awesome job, and I've done some really fantastic pens with this lathe. It gets the job done. That's all I can say about it. And it is an LED shop light, and then I mounted it on an arm that comes out from the wall above my lathe. It does what I need it to do for light, so you can see what I'm doing down here when I'm turning a pen or whatever I'm turning at the time, and it does what's necessary. It gets it done. This lathe, when I bought it, it came with 2 tool rests. It comes with a long, get that down there. It comes with a short tool rest as well, a faceplate that comes with it, and this is for mounting on bowls or disc sander out of your lathe. That works really good. It also comes with a drive spur right here that goes in the headstock for doing spindle work. On the opposite end, for the tailstock, you get a live center, and by live center, the terminology just means that it spins and has a point and a cone that goes into the wood, so it keeps it from coming out when turning, which can still happen. And then it also comes with a knocker, and when you have your drive center in your headstock and you put pressure on it, it tightens up and you can't pull it out by hand. So in order to get it out, you just tap and then it comes right out the headstock like that. What tools do you recommend that I get? My 2 cents worth if you want to take it for that. Get a good mini lathe, get some decent tools, and practice. I hope some of this makes sense to you guys, what I do. And Jason, this is the first part of what you say I should be doing. Thank you for pointing that out to me, buddy. I love you, man, and I'll see you guys next week.